Welcome to the Random Green Channel. Today I wanted to go over the daily text for the organization, jworg. And it says in here, it brings something very important up because it says, well, I'll read it. The text is, going through the narrow gate because broad is the gate and spacious is the road leading off into destruction. And many are going through it. Matthew 7:13 and 14. It's the 7:13. Jesus mentioned two different gates leading to two different roads, a spacious road and a cramped road. Matthew 7:14, there is no third road. Are we sure about that? Are they sure about that? Because if you think about it, there is a third road. There's a third road of life. Because if you die before the end, you'll be fine. If you lived in a different century, 7th century, I don't know why, it's my favorite century. And, if they get to they're fine. They automatically go on to the system, move on to the kingdom. Okay. Out of it, obviously, or according to the 1,000-year reign or their doctrine, you have to work back to perfection for the 1,000-year reign. And that's something a person has according to their doctrine. Nowhere in the scripture says, well, you have to this gradual return to perfection. In fact, it says, look, I am making all things new, and God will do it, and he will make all things new, and within an instant. Christ carried somebody back to perfection. It was an instant. It didn't take 1,000 years to get back to perfection. Because it doesn't make any sense if you reason upon it. And here's my thing: I could be wrong. I could be wrong about the whole thing. Making this video, whatever. But if they are getting back to perfection, no resident will say I'm sick. At some point they have to be perfect in order to say they're not sick. So no resident will say I'm sick, and JWs go by that, right? They go by this. So anyway, I'm getting off in a little bit of a tangent, but I guess that's kind of what I am. I'm random. So keep in mind, if you're new to this channel, I do random videos. So there is no third road. Well, okay, we've covered that there is. We must choose for ourselves on which road we will travel. This is the most important decision we will ever make. Our everlasting second-class citizenship depends on it. Our everlasting working forever as a second-class citizen. Okay, right. Not. The spacious road is popular because it is easy to travel. Sadly, many choose to remain on that road and follow the crowd traveling on it. They just it's this idea of this black and white teaching, or this teaching of, if you're not at JW, you're like the rest of the world. So you're like them, you choose to do it. Well, I choose to stay on a path that, without the organization, because, well, if you look at their false prophets and false prophecies, and not a false hope, but a false date, and we go if we read Deuteronomy 18:20 through 22, that'll exactly tell us what a false prophet is, and you can't sugarcoat it. Which, I choose to go down a road that I feel. Obedience is better than a sacrifice. God would want somebody who's obedient. They fail to recognize the one promoting this road is Satan, the devil, and that his road leads to a dead end. Of course, and it doesn't say of course it is. If you're going to be on the road of Satan, then, they act like it's either the Watchtower or Satan. But maybe the Watchtower is ran by Satan. Maybe. I'm saying maybe. In some ways, I don't think you can really deny it. You look at child baptism and cohesion, family members, break apart of families. You can't be like totally, you can if you want, but if you're a reasonable person, you can't be like, oh no, this is all true and all good and everything they say is absolutely 100% correct. In contrast, getting back to the paragraph, in contrast with the spacious road, the other road is cramped, and Jesus said that few are able to find it. Why? Note that in the next verse, Jesus warns, here's a kicker, his followers against false prophets. Really? Really, Watchtower? Jesus warns his followers against false prophets. For false prophets and false Christs will arrive and deceive many. Again, I'm not sitting there and saying this is absolutely, totally 100% wrong, because what they say in here is true. What Jesus said about broad and spacious is that road of life. We see the world and how uh, demoralizing it's getting. It's getting more woke and woke every day. You know what? Nothing against. I mean, there's some good things to be woke on, but morality is not one of them. And you can tell the world is getting a little, crazy with that. I get it. Let's read Let's read First Corinthians, verse 9-10. Or do you not know that unrighteous people will not inherit God's kingdom? Do not be misled. Those who are sexually immoral, adulterers, men who submit to homosexual acts, men who practice homosexuality, thieves, greedy people, drunkards, revilers, and extortioners will not inherit God's kingdom. All right, that's not for me to judge. And again, that's what, if you follow that and you don't commit those acts, and the scriptures, they're going by what the scripture says, and we know that we originate with God, but the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. Okay, but we have to understand that you can't think the Watchtower thinks, oh, that's us, that's not us. There's no way that the dark one, Satan, the devil, can mislead us. There's no way, because when you think you're standing, what happens? By no means am I saying anything bad about this. What they're saying is absolutely correct. There's only, and to the GW organization credit, they look towards God's kingdom as the only hope. That is absolutely correct. There's only one. GMK is the only hope, not JWGMK. We have to, it takes great faith to have faith that GMK is the only hope to mankind, not JWGMK. Could they be wrong in certain? Yeah, they certainly are in some things, but they're, like I say, I don't want to be an apostate that will just drag everything down because for the sake of arguing against the organization, because it's the organization. There's a lot of things wrong with the organization. I think people know that, but in order to keep members in there, they have to fearmonger people. They really do. They have to sit there and everything is to a dead end. See this right here? Just, this road is the dead end, of course. But, the thing is, let's just examine this for a second. Do we have to be part of an organization? I think Christ would want us to be away from organizations. He warned us against the Pharisees. He did. So I want to keep this video as brief as possible. So if you made it this far, thanks very much. Let me know what you think. If you want to leave a comment, you don't have to, of course. I never expect anybody to leave comments. And again, this is the random green channels. That means games, Google Earth, comedy, somewhat so-called comedy, and things like that, guys. So just keep in mind it's a random green channel. So don't sub. All right. Thanks very much. Have a nice day.